Also said that Jay-Z, Foxy Brown, and Lil Wayne were some of your biggest influences when you were coming up. What did each of them have that you wanted to emulate?
Jay-Z, business savvy. Foxy Brown, immaculate delivery. Lil Wayne, trendsetter.
Business savvy.
Federal eyes are suddenly locked on Jay-Z after wild online claims linking him to Nicki Minaj sent the internet into chaos. The situation's heating up fast, but with no official charges yet. No confirmations, just whispers, legal smoke, and one shocking comment that made everyone stop scrolling and start connecting dots. Money, loyalty, betrayal, it's all tangled up in this drama. But before we unpack the 2026 madness...
Remember when Jay-Z launched Tidal?
I remember.
And he brought in like 16 musical
15
partners.
people gave him 3% each.
Gave what?
3% each, 45%.
Okay, 3% each.
3%, they got 45% that he brought in. Later on, somebody else came in with like 200 million or so, and he gave them a third. It kind of diluted everybody, which we understand that. That's how your contract's written.
So she's claiming that Jay-Z, when he sold the company to Jack Dorsey, which I looked it up, it was sold for around 300 million.
We gotta rewind way back, because what's happening between Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z didn't just pop up overnight. This story's got roots, and deep ones at that. Without knowing where it all began, it's impossible to understand why things have exploded the way they have. Let's take it from the top. There was a time when Nicki Minaj had nothing but love, respect, and admiration for Jay-Z. She looked up to him, the man who turned lyrics into legacy, verses into ventures, and rap into real empire power. Nicki said it on camera for the whole world to hear. She saw Jay-Z as the blueprint for success. He wasn't just a rapper to her, he was a symbol of how far hip-hop could go when business met bars. And for a while, it looked like Nicki was determined to follow that same path, side by side with him. When Jay-Z launched his streaming platform, Tidal, back in 2015, he didn't move solo. He brought the biggest names in the game to be partners, shareholders, and visionaries in his new empire. And yes, Nicki Minaj was one of them. That's where the cracks started to show. Reports say Nicki was handed around a 3% equity stake in Tidal, but she didn't just sit on it. She went hard for that platform.
That she was paid $1 million, but she's really owed $200 million.
But she only had about maybe 2.5%, 3% tops.
There's 16 partners. She's not an equal partner. Jay-Z is obviously the biggest shareholder.
What's the numbers on 300 and 2.5%? I mean, shit.
300 times
10% would have been 3 million.
2.5.
Half of that 1.5.
It's about 7.5 million.
But 2.5?
2.5%.
Pushing it to her millions of fans, rallying the barbs harder than anyone else. By her own words, Nicki promoted Tidal more than anyone except Beyoncé herself. Nicki put her name, her influence, and her credibility behind Jay-Z's dream. She went all in because she believed in the vision. She believed in him. But that belief, that loyalty, it might just be what sparked the fire that's now burning between them.
If it sold for that much, like you said, it was probably diluted.
It was diluted.
And in fact, Tidal was a losing company.
Tidal
was never successful.
Stayed in the negative.
It stayed in the negative, so it probably decreased in overall value. They had to get they had to get more money, which ultimately diluted everyone's share and so forth. It's not like you're talking about Spotify. You're not talking about Apple. You're talking about a losing company that was ping-pong to various other people. I think Sprint bought it at one point. Then I think Jack Dorsey just bought it as a favor to be cool with Jay-Z because he didn't do anything with it. Tidal's not a major platform anymore.
He didn't do anything with it.
And she's claiming that she's owed $200 million, which is it's just insane.
Then came 2021, the year everything changed. Jay-Z sold Tidal to Jack Dorsey's company, Square, for around $300 million. Sounds like a massive win, right? But according to Nicki Minaj, she barely saw a dime. She claimed she was offered just $1 million, a single measly million, and that was supposed to be her payout. Nicki wasn't having that at all. She's publicly said over and over that Jay-Z still owes her somewhere between $100 and $200 million. That's a huge gap, and fans were stunned. But does that math really make sense? Well, Whack 100 actually sat down and broke it all down in an interview with DJ Vlad, and his numbers had everybody talking. When you crunch the math, 2.5% of a $300 million sale comes out to about $7.5 million even before dilution. And once you factor in the extra investors who joined the deal, that number drops even lower, nowhere near $200 million. But here's the twist. For Nicki, this fight was never just about the cash. It was about what that money represented. She felt played, plain and simple. She felt like she put her name, her image, and her fan power behind Jay-Z's vision, only to be left hanging when it was time for everyone to collect their share. Nicki believes she helped build that brand, but when the checks were cut, she says she got pushed aside like she didn't matter. And the Tidal issue? That was only one piece of a much bigger picture. Nicki also claimed that back in 2018, Jay-Z blocked her from releasing her own documentary, a project where she planned to speak her truth about the alleged abuse she faced while dating Meek Mill, who, by the way, was signed under Jay-Z's Roc Nation. According to Nicki's team, Jay-Z personally told her not to drop the documentary, and out of respect, she listened. She held it back, staying loyal even when she didn't have to. But then, after all that loyalty, Roc Nation went and signed Megan Thee Stallion right when Megan and Nicki were clashing publicly. That move had people talking, and as Wack 100 put it, he just said what everyone else was already thinking. Wack 100 looked at the long list of people Nicki Minaj was calling out and then dropped a comment that made everyone pause for a second. It wasn't just about drama anymore, it was about what really might be going on behind the scenes. That's the burning question at the center of this storm. Is Nicki Minaj actually exposing real corruption and shady manipulation happening at the top of the music industry?
I think the problem we have is we watch people for 10, 20, 15 years. We watch them. Vlad, if I woke up and over the next 5 days saw you ranting on everybody, right? I'm not gonna say Vlad's unhappy. I'm gonna say, yo, Act, yo, Trap, yo, Adam, hey, bro, we need to go check on Vlad. This ain't him, right? Like, we see what he's doing. This not him. So that means something's going on.
Or is there something else going on here? Because what happened next took the situation to a whole new level of wild. When The Breakfast Club covered Nicki's tweets about Jay-Z, one of the hosts said what plenty of people had been whispering for months. If Nicki truly believes that Jay-Z owes her millions, and if the contracts really say what she claims they say, then why hasn't she taken legal action? As of February 2026, there's still been no official lawsuit, no legal filings, nothing confirmed in court. And that's where things get messy. Because if the paperwork existed, if those contracts were real, the receipts would speak for themselves. The audits would show the truth, plain and simple. But instead of lawyers and judges, this battle's been playing out loud and unfiltered across social media, where every tweet, every post, and every like turns into a headline. That's what makes this whole saga so complicated. It's being fought in public, not on paper. When Nicki declared war online, people thought it was just about the Tidal money, but they were so wrong. Because heading into the second half of 2024 and all through 2025, Nicki didn't just keep the pressure on Jay-Z, she turned it up.
Do you see what she's been doing recently?
I see she's been going at Jay-Z, well, Tidal.
Jay-Z, SZA,
Why is she going at SZA?
Doechii, Kendrick, Punch from TDE, everybody. Desiree from Roc Nation.
Nicki turned the heat all the way up. The internet completely exploded after one moment, the Super Bowl in September 2024. Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, which partners with the NFL, made the call to have Kendrick Lamar headline the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show. Sounds like a power move, right? But here's where it gets messy. That Super Bowl was being held in New Orleans, the city of Lil Wayne himself. New Orleans is Wayne's kingdom. His legacy runs deep there. Fans, artists, even industry insiders were sure Wayne would get the honor. Nicki expected it, the fans expected it, and by some accounts, Wayne did too. But that call never came. Instead, Kendrick Lamar got the slot, and Nicki completely lost it online. She jumped on social media and blasted Jay-Z, calling him evil and disgusting, claiming he deliberately blocked Lil Wayne from performing on one of the biggest stages in music. The barbs were livid. Wayne supporters were outraged. What had started as a business fallout suddenly turned into an all-out war. The Breakfast Club even covered it live, reading Nicki's tweets word for word. Jay-Z ruined hip-hop, Jay-Z ruined football, Jay-Z ruined basketball, Jay-Z ruined touring, Jay-Z ruined Instagram and Twitter. That's a lot of ruining for one man, and the host joked about how wild the accusation sounded. But underneath the laughter, something darker was brewing. By July 2025, Nicki took things even further. She went on X and directly accused Jay-Z of being jealous of her success. She claimed she was secretly black in her bag, pulling strings behind the scenes to mess with her brand deals and stop her moves.
Well, I'll tell you this, I have no idea about their business, but if someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X. And I guarantee you, if she ever took that to court, that would be a huge story.
Nicki didn't stop there. She also called out Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez, accusing her of unethical practices. She demanded the full $100 to $200 million she said she was owed, and even promised to donate it to charity and create college funds for her fans if she got it. But the biggest shocker came just months later. In October 2025, Nicki dropped the bomb that nobody saw coming. She announced she was scrapping her upcoming 6th studio album, the one fans had been waiting on for years, and was set to drop in March 2026. Even more shocking, she hinted she might be retiring from music altogether. Fans were speechless. What started as a business fallout had spiraled into one of the most dramatic showdowns the industry had ever seen, and everyone was watching to see what Nicki would do next. Nicki's exact words on X hit like a thunderbolt across the internet. She posted, "Okay, I'm not going to put out the album anymore. No more music. Hope you're happy now, Jay-Z." That one post sent shockwaves through the entire music industry. Fans were stunned, the media went wild, and headlines lit up everywhere. TMZ, Complex, Hypebeast, Rolling Stone, even the Economic Times picked it up. Nicki blamed it all on Jay-Z and Roc Nation. She claimed they had sabotaged her projects from the inside, and she wasn't about to drop another song until her contracts were fixed and the money issue was finally settled. She said executives at Roc Nation had been begging her behind the scenes to tour, to release music, to keep the momentum going. But Nicki refused. She wasn't budging until that Tidal payout was cleared up. Then, just a few weeks later, in November 2025, things took another unexpected twist. Out of nowhere, Nicki started teasing the album again. She hinted it was stacked with nothing but hits, said she had 16 tracks ready to go. Suddenly, that retirement didn't seem so permanent anymore. Still, the impact of her earlier announcement was already massive. The industry had already picked a side, and the narrative was set. Nicki was painting Jay-Z as the villain who tried to shut her down. But not everyone was buying that story. Wack 100 came through again with a take that made people think twice. He didn't jump on the Jay-Z is the evil mastermind bandwagon. Instead,
Oh my God.
Well, she felt like Lil Wayne. She feels like Lil Wayne should have been the performer at the Super Bowl in New Orleans.
That is funny as hell. Read that one again. What you said, Jay-Z.
She did a whole list.
She said, "Dear #Jay-Z, you ruined hip hop, you ruined football, you ruined basketball, you ruined touring, you ruined Instagram, you ruined Twitter. The jig is up. All of this is alleged and for entertainment purposes only."
he suggested there might be something deeper going on, something more personal. Then he made a comparison that caught people off guard. He brought up Gucci Mane. He reminded everyone how Gucci once went through a phase where he lashed out publicly at everyone, firing off wild claims left and right, before eventually getting locked up, cleaning up his life, and coming out more grounded than ever. Wack wasn't calling Nicki out, he was pointing out a pattern. Maybe what was happening wasn't just about money or music contracts. Maybe it was about pressure, isolation, and the toll of being constantly under the spotlight. Still, through all of it, the tweets, the accusations, the chaos, one thing stayed the same. Nicki Minaj wasn't backing down. Jay-Z didn't say a single word, not one tweet, not one interview, not even a casual comment slipped through the cracks. Absolute silence, and that silence was loud. Fans noticed it, the media dissected it, and everyone had their own theory about what it meant. To some people, that quietness screamed guilt, like Jay-Z knew he couldn't defend himself without opening a can of worms he didn't want exposed. They said his silence was the move of a man caught up in something too messy to explain. But others saw it differently. They believed Jay-Z was simply above the drama, that he thought responding would only give it more life, and that the billionaire mogul wasn't about to get dragged into an online shouting match. But there's another layer to his silence, and this one DJ Academics pointed out, and this one hit hard. What he said made a lot of people take a step back and really start questioning Jay-Z's quiet act.
Going on.
If you're hollering and screaming on social media, I believe, I could be wrong, I believe either a album, a single, she's about to launch some merch. I believe it's just a marketing gimmick to put the light on her so she can present something else to the people. I could be wrong, but or she just, maybe she's going through something. You know what I'm saying? Like bro, people go through things and people react. And
that right there, that question is what keeps all the conspiracy theories alive. If what Nicki Minaj is saying is totally made up, completely false, and has no proof behind it, then why hasn't Roc Nation's powerful legal team stepped in? This is the same crew known for coming after bloggers, reporters, and even small creators over way smaller claims. Yet when it comes to Nicki, nothing? Rumors swirled that a cease and desist might have been sent quietly in December 2025, but there's been no actual lawsuit, no court filing, no official action. For a company with Roc Nation's kind of legal firepower, that silence spoke volumes to a lot of people. It made fans wonder if maybe, just maybe, Nicki wasn't as off base as everyone thought. Then came February 2026, Grammy night, and that's when things went nuclear. The biggest night in music turned into the biggest explosion in this entire feud. While the world watched stars walk the red carpet, Nicki Minaj was not at the ceremony. She was at home, on X, ready to go off like never before. What she dropped online that night would become the most explosive series of posts in this whole saga. Part of what set her off came straight from the Grammys broadcast itself. Host Trevor Noah decided to crack a joke about Nicki's absence, and it wasn't lighthearted or harmless. He went there, and the moment it aired, the clip started trending instantly. Trevor was doing his job, keeping the crowd laughing, keeping the show fun, but Nicki Minaj doesn't take shots like that lightly. She took it personally, very personally, and within minutes, she unleashed absolute chaos on social media. Tweet after tweet, post after post, it was a digital explosion like the industry had never seen before. DJ Academics was covering it live as it all unfolded in real time, reading her tweets out loud as they dropped.
For her to be going at this many people all at once, we watched Gucci Mane, remember?
Yeah.
Remember when Gucci got on one?
Yeah, but
matter of fact, she was the butt of one of the jokes.
Prison right afterwards.
Remember, he was, bro, we was hearing all kind of things, right?
Yeah.
But Gucci later on, once he came home from prison,
he got off drugs, got married, settled
Remember,
down.
it was something happened at the barbershop.
Yeah.
He said, Nicki, I should take you to the $29.99. He went at everybody, right? Every day we looked up, Gucci was over, but bro was going through.
And that first tweet hit like a bomb, shaking up timelines and sparking headlines within minutes. What Nicki said next would push the feud past the point of no return. This wasn't just online drama anymore. This was a full-blown industry meltdown. Nicki's post that night took things to an entirely new level of chaos. She went straight for Jay-Z, accusing him and people in his circle of doing dark, twisted things for power. She claimed she wouldn't release another album until her contract was completely renegotiated, saying the industry had been sabotaging her from the inside, even calling out Billboard, accusing them of manipulating her chart placements. And she wasn't done, not even close. Then Nicki dropped something that made jaws hit the floor. She posted old photos of a young Jay-Z with a teenage Aaliyah, questioning the age gap and the nature of their connection back in the 1990s. The internet went wild. DJ Academics, who was covering it live, even stopped midstream to do the math on their ages. It became one of the most viral moments of the night. But while Nicki was going at Jay-Z, she didn't stop there. She was swinging at everyone who even slightly crossed her that night. She fired back at Trevor Noah for the Grammys joke that had set her off in the first place, and then suddenly came for Chrissy Teigen, who had apparently reacted to the joke with a thumbs up. Nicki hit back with Chrissy with a shocking claim that had nothing to do with Jay-Z, and within hours, Academics noticed something strange. Chrissy Teigen's Twitter account was gone, deleted. Then Nicki went after Lizzo, jumped into political territory with fiery takes on Democrats and voter ID laws, and even dragged George Clinton into the mix out of nowhere. It was a full-on scorched earth campaign. No one was safe, and every new post sent the internet into a bigger meltdown. Academics was narrating it all in real time, stunned, amused, and maybe a little concerned. He called it exactly what he thought it was, but he also pointed out the one part that no major outlet wanted to touch, and that's where the story took an even darker turn.
Man, every single person here, John Legend, Billie Eilish, Phineas, Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here.
Thumbs up, happen.
She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues. Actually, Nicki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nicki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it. Look at it, baby.
Oh, shit. They dissed the hell out of it.
What Academics said next stopped everyone in their tracks. He claimed there was something deeper happening behind Nicki's meltdown, something the mainstream outlets were too scared to even mention. He suggested that maybe Nicki wasn't just lashing out randomly. Maybe she was trying to warn people about what she'd seen inside the industry. According to Academics, Nicki had been hinting for years that powerful figures in music were hiding secrets, serious ones. He said her posts weren't just angry rants, they were coded messages meant to expose what really happens when artists start questioning the system. And whether people believed her or not, the way she connected names, timelines, and deals made everything feel just a little too specific to ignore. Meanwhile, fans were completely divided. Half the internet thought Nicki had officially gone too far, that her accusations were dangerous and unproven, but the other half was convinced she was finally pulling back the curtain on the truth. Hashtags like Nicki was right and Rock Nation exposed started trending within hours, turning social media into a digital war zone. Then more chaos. Nicki's posts started disappearing. One by one, tweets vanished, videos were removed, and screenshots began circulating like wildfire. Some fans claimed her account was being shadow banned, while others said her team might have been trying to do damage control. But for Nicki's supporters, it only added more fuel. They said it proved she was hitting nerves in high places. By the next morning, every entertainment outlet had picked it up. CNN, Billboard, The Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, everyone. Commentators, lawyers, and PR experts started chiming in, calling the situation an unprecedented situation. Nobody could figure out if this was a breakdown, a bold move, or a calculated attack against one of the most powerful men in music. And yet, through all of it, Jay-Z stayed completely silent. Not a word, not a reaction. That silence started to feel eerie. Even people who didn't believe Nicki's claims began wondering if it was all lies. Wouldn't Rock Nation shut it down officially? Why let it snowball like this? As the dust settled, one thing was clear. Nicki Minaj had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Whether she was exposing corruption or spiraling under pressure, she'd turned hip-hop into a battlefield, and the next move would either make her a legend or mark the end of her empire.
Nation don't sue Nicki. If you know, they're quick to kind of support Meg and sue a blogger who doesn't have anything. Why not sue Nicki? That's kind of odd. I'm not saying this shit, but I'm just saying, you know, usually when they're not suing, it's like they kind of know they don't have a case, which means maybe you have some type of point that you've made.
By the second week of February 2026, the internet had reached total meltdown mode. Every influencer, podcaster, and insider wanted in on the story, and rumors were spreading faster than anyone could fact-check them. What started as a feud had now turned into a full-blown cultural storm, with Nicki Minaj standing at the center like a lightning rod. Then came a new twist that nobody saw coming. A mysterious audio clip leaked online. The file was short, barely a minute long, but it allegedly captured a conversation between two unnamed Rock Nation executives discussing how to contain the Nicki situation. The audio was fuzzy, full of background noise, but the voices sounded too real. Within minutes, it was trending on every platform, with millions trying to decode every word. Some claimed it was AI generated, others swore it was authentic. Either way, it poured gasoline on the fire. Nicki's fans went wild, demanding answers. They tagged Jay-Z, Rock Nation, even Jack Dorsey, saying, "We need the truth." But once again, Silence. No response from anyone involved. The clip vanished from major platforms overnight, flagged for copyright violations, but by then, it had already been saved and reposted thousands of times. Nicki returned to X the next morning with a single cryptic post. They tried to erase it, but we got the proof now. You can't hide forever. That one line broke the internet again. Theories exploded. Was Nicki about to drop documents, screenshots, secret recordings? Fans camped out online, refreshing her feed like they were waiting for a bombshell. Meanwhile, major networks started pulling together emergency panels to discuss the fallout. Some experts called it the most chaotic celebrity standoff of the decade. Others said Nicki was walking a dangerous line, pushing against one of the most powerful empires in entertainment, could end her career for good. Behind the scenes, whispers got louder that brands were quietly freezing endorsement deals and sponsorships tied to Nicki until things settled. Her camp didn't confirm it, but fans noticed her official website suddenly went offline for maintenance. That only made things sound even sketchier. By now, even people outside the music world were watching closely. Politicians, journalists, and tech analysts started weighing in, saying the situation was bigger than music. This wasn't just a feud anymore. It had turned into a conversation about power, censorship, and who really controls the industry. And as the dust swirled, everyone waited for Nicki's next move, because one more post from her could change everything.
Well, I'll tell you this, I have no idea about their business, but if someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X. And I guarantee you, if she ever took that to court, that would be a huge story.
2 days later, the internet practically froze when Nicki Minaj finally broke her silence again. And this time, she didn't just talk, she dropped evidence. At exactly midnight, she posted a thread titled, "They Can't Hide It Anymore." And what came next sent social media into an all-out frenzy. The first post was a screenshot of what appeared to be an internal email from someone allegedly tied to Roc Nation's digital department. The message referenced content moderation coordination and mentioned her name directly, saying, "Make sure any Minaj-related uploads are flagged early." Within seconds, the post had over 2 million views, and within minutes, the screenshot was everywhere. Nicki followed up with another bombshell, what looked like a snippet of an old text thread between her and a top industry executive. The messages hinted that she'd been blacklisted from certain festivals and that her slot was reassigned for optics. She didn't name names, but fans immediately started connecting dots, pulling out past tour lineups and cross-referencing canceled appearances. The hashtag NickiLeaks trended globally before dawn. Fans were screenshotting, saving, and reposting everything before it could vanish, because just like before, the posts began disappearing one by one. By morning, most of them were gone from her page, marked unavailable. Still, the screenshots had already flooded TikTok, Reddit, and YouTube. Independent journalists jumped in, saying the metadata on the images looked real. Others claimed they were doctored. But one thing was clear, Nicki had the world's attention again.
Touch. Hey, all y'all niggas who love comment on me, bro. Hey, everybody, hey, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. Hey, oh, let me signal here. Hey, I seen everybody do think pieces on supposedly a non-existent event that didn't happen, but I seen everybody role playing on podcasts. What is happening if I got slapped or not, which it didn't happen, but whatever, cool. I'll let y'all rock with that. But I need all of y'all to keep the same energy and talk about this. Joe Budden, I can't wait to watch your next.
Then things got even weirder. Reports started coming in that Roc Nation's office in Los Angeles was temporarily closed to staff due to what internal sources called a cybersecurity incident. No one could confirm if it had anything to do with the leaks, but the timing was way too suspicious. Meanwhile, Academics was back online dissecting every pixel of the screenshots in a 3-hour live stream. He said, if even half of this is real, this is bigger than Tidal. This is about control, censorship, and silencing artists who don't fall in line. His stream hit record numbers before mysteriously crashing mid-broadcast. By the end of that week, everyone, fans, journalists, even other artists, were asking the same question. What is Jay-Z hiding, and how far will Nicki go to prove it? Nicki didn't post again for 48 hours. Total silence. But that silence didn't calm things down. It only made the world wonder what bombshell she was about to drop next. And just like that, silence. Suddenly, no one wanted to talk about it anymore. The podcast that had been milking the feud for weeks went quiet. The think pieces stopped. Journalists who once couldn't stop analyzing every Nicki tweet suddenly went missing from the conversation. It was like someone flipped a switch and the entire media decided to look the other way. But here's the part most people forgot. While Nicki Minaj was setting fire to the internet, Jay-Z was fighting some very real battles of his own in court. Back in late 2024, a woman identified as Jane Doe filed a civil lawsuit claiming Jay-Z had been involved in a sexual assault that allegedly happened way back in 2000. The accusations were explosive and instantly made headlines everywhere. Jay-Z, through his legal team, denied everything, calling it a blackmail attempt designed to squeeze money out of him. He didn't stop there, though. He fired back with a countersuit against the attorney handling the case, Tony Busby, accusing him of extortion and defamation. Then things took another sharp turn. In February 2025, Jane Doe voluntarily dismissed her lawsuit without an explanation. But instead of letting it fade away, Jay-Z flipped the script and launched his own defamation lawsuit in Alabama, claiming the entire story was part of a malicious conspiracy that damaged his reputation and cost him an estimated $20 million in lost income. Meanwhile, the legal back and forth got even uglier. Tony Busby turned around and sued Roc Nation, accusing them of trying to manipulate or recruit his own clients to file fake lawsuits against his law firm. That move threw even more chaos into the mix. Now both camps were accusing the other of corruption and lies. To make it even messier, Jay-Z's own extortion case against Busby was dismissed by a judge in July 2025, though he immediately appealed the decision, refusing to let it go. So picture this, Jay-Z locked in multiple courtroom battles, millions on the line, his public image under attack, while at the exact same time, Nicki Minaj was blasting him online to millions of followers every night. It was like two storms colliding, legal chaos on one side, social media explosions on the other. And through it all, Jay-Z never cracked. Not one interview, not one comment, just quiet moves behind the scenes while the world tried to make sense of the madness surrounding him.
Time. Now she puts an associated picture, and the picture shows a 26-year-old Jay-Z with supposedly a 15-year-old Aaliyah. Now we got to do some fact checking here. How old was Aaliyah in 1996? In 1996, she turned 17. So she turned 17 on January 1996. So if this is 1996, as this picture alludes to, unless this was before January 16th, she was most likely 17. She was most likely 17, not 15. So I want to be accurate. Now, granted, is she still underage? Yes. Let's say if it was 1996, right? Aaliyah was 17 in 1996. How old was Jay-Z in 1996? We can't go off the picture. We just got to go off. He was 27. Or 26 or 27. Who knows? 27 or 26 and 17 is odd. I will say that. That's
By early 2026, the chaos had reached a breaking point. The lawsuits, the leaks, the silence, it all collided into one giant storm that had the entire industry holding its breath. Jay-Z's legal team quietly filed new documents in his defamation case, this time naming two unidentified digital collaborators they believe were helping spread false narratives online. The papers didn't name Nicki Minaj directly, but the wording made it clear who they were hitting at, and social media went into meltdown again. Meanwhile, Nicki's camp stayed completely quiet. No posts, no statements, nothing for almost 2 weeks. Fans were convinced something major was happening behind the scenes. Some said she was being forced into silence. Others thought she was just letting Jay-Z make the next mistake. But when she finally returned to X, her message was short and chilling. You can erase posts, you can buy headlines, but you can't rewrite the truth. That one line reignited everything. News outlets rushed to cover it, fans flooded her replies, and suddenly both Jay-Z's and Nicki's names were trending worldwide again. But this time, something felt different, bigger, because now both artists were fighting not just for their reputations, but for control over the narrative itself. Behind closed doors, industry insiders said the tension was unlike anything they'd ever seen. Sponsors pulled back, publicists were in panic mode. Some claimed Roc Nation started quietly restructuring its PR division. Others said Nicki was being courted by rival executives to build her own label, away from all the drama, a move that could flip the entire hip-hop business upside down. And through it all, one question still echoed across every timeline and comment section. What's the truth? Was Nicki Minaj bravely standing up to a system that had tried to silence her, or was Jay-Z being dragged into one of the wildest public feuds in music history for something he didn't do? Nobody knew for sure, and maybe that's why the world couldn't stop watching. By the time the dust began to settle, one thing was crystal clear. This wasn't just another celebrity feud. This was history in real time. Power, money, secrets, and legacy all crashing together in one of the most shocking sagas the music world had ever seen. And trust, this story isn't over yet. If there's one thing we've learned, it's that every time we think it's done, another twist drops out of nowhere. So stay tuned, because whatever comes next might just shake the entire industry again. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share if you want more deep dives like this, because the next chapter is gonna be even wilder.